Hi everybody and welcome back to La Capricornia with me, Priscilla Moreno. As always, make sure you stay until the end for your full guided message. Okay guys, so this time I want to talk about how being the bigger person doesn't always mean that you're staying quiet or you're not fighting back. Sometimes being the bigger person, you have to. I mean, we all have lines and we all have things that we want, and we have to be vocal about these things, you guys. And we have to speak our truths, because the more and more we hold in, the bigger that issue becomes. And then one day we're gonna burst. We're gonna burst. And I see this happen a lot, specifically, in separations, where one person just is finally like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of everything and blah, blah, blah. And then the other person is like, you see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, they're this, they're that, and blah, blah. And it's like, well, you got this person to that point because they were being the bigger person and not saying anything. And it's really sad when things get like that, especially because sometimes you just burst and you say things, or you get upset, or things, come out that you probably didn't want to say. And then they come out like 10 times worse because you're just in that moment and feeling a certain way. And it all could have been avoided if you put up boundaries, or, you cut something off where it was supposed to be. And that doesn't mean you have to fight every battle. I know it goes back to picking and choosing your battles, but it also doesn't mean that you have to be quiet all the time, Sometimes you have to be like, no, like, regardless of what it means or how anyone tries to convince you that it benefits both of you, the answer, you can say no, the answer is no, nope. And you can decide what to do with that, altogether. And I know for me, like, there are a lot of things I stay quiet about, specifically when it comes to my children and things that I want them to see and don't want them to see. And then what ends up happening is, I end up bursting at a certain point, or I end up getting upset about a certain thing because I feel it's crossing a certain line. And then it's like, oh, I did not mean to say this, or I didn't mean to say that. But at the same time, like, I do need that respect, and I do need my boundaries to be respected. And I need you to understand where you stand in that line, And it's not a bad thing, you guys. Like, I'm telling you, I just do feel like we're in a time where we need to have action. So even if it's not like a relationship, work, in work, what's something that, you're kind of like, oh, I'm hoping that they notice me, I'm doing this, I'm excelling in that. Well, here's the thing, you guys. Sometimes some people will excel and do amazing and not want to move up. So when's the last time, like, you've told your boss or whoever, hey, like, I want to move up, or this is what I want, Some people don't do that because they're like, my work speaks for itself and this and that. And it does. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But you also have to be vocal about what you want, or else people won't know that. So what ended up happening to me last time was my coworker ended up mentioning to another person that I was thinking about moving up and what I wanted to do with my like end goal with my company. And this person was like, I did not think, she would be interested in this. And I'm like, what did you think I was working so hard for? Like, in my head, like, I thought I exuded that I wanted to move up. I wanted to do things that I want, great things for myself. And apparently that's not the vibe I was giving, And I know I'm not as vocal about certain things, and I have been a little bit more now. Like, even in speaking with my boss, like, I had that tough conversation. Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to get to where I need to get to? What do you need me to work on? The good, the bad, let's hear it. I'm gonna work on it, And it's not just about moving up, but just in general, just for me to become a better person, a better leader. Like, what do I need? And, I'm not saying, oh, they're going to be like, yes, you are automatically going to get this, because sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But at least it's out there. I put it into the universe. I spoke it into existence. of what I want. You know, it's not just up here anymore. And yes, sometimes it is better to work in silence. I get that. But there are times where you need to be vocal, and who you're vocal with. Like, I know with my bosses, again, I make it very clear. When I had my old boss in California, he knew exactly what I wanted. My new boss here in Nevada, he knows exactly what I want. So, you know, I'm very vocal with the right people in what I want. And even if whoever's watching this that I work with, I know my end goals and I know what I want. While I'm not going into every specific detail of what I'm doing, you know, like whether I'm working extra hours or, you know, pushing certain things through or making certain business decisions. Like, I might not be getting into those level of details, but I am making moves. Like, in my head, I know what I'm doing. I'm working on it. I'm targeting certain things. I'm being specific on the things that I say and believe in. And that's just all in life, you guys. Like, it should be like that for everything. You know, be vocal about what you want. And if someone ever tells you no, or they're not in line with what you're asking for, then it's not for you, maybe there. And that's where we all have to, like, also know when to put up those boundaries of, like, okay, this is the boundary that you have with me when it comes to things that I want in my life or the way I want certain things to go. And that doesn't mean you have to be nitpicky or we have to control everything. But, you know, like, again, when it goes back to like relationships or co-parenting or anything like that, I know for me, I would like my co-parenting relationship to be a certain way. And sometimes it's just not in line with, you know, what that other person wants. And sometimes I have to be like, again, picking and choosing battles. But then there are times where I'm like, you know, no, like, I'm sorry, but no, like, we're not going to cross that boundary, or I'm not okay with this. This is not what I want. And the same way that they're telling me, like, no, it's not, I'm not okay with this. This is not what I want. Like, there has to be an understanding from both ends. And I know when to be vocal about it because I know what I want. And again, speaking it into existence, I'm making it known. So maybe something that like the other person thought was okay, finally I'm like, this is not okay. There's a line. And then, you know, it doesn't have to be a fight. Maybe it's that person didn't know, or they were just like, oh, well, I always thought it was okay, you know? And it's like, no, it's not. And then let's say they are not okay with it, then okay, maybe it's something that you really need to push back on, you know? Like, and then that's where you start seeing certain things and you're working with the energies, you know? Again, you have to fight for what you want. I do feel like we need to take that action right now. It's just a time of letting go of our old selves that used to be okay with things, that used to say, you know what, I'm going to take the high road and not say anything, because we use that term a lot to let certain things go, because not everything is a high road, you know? Me putting my feelings aside 99.99% of the time is not taking the high road. At that point, I'm just failing myself, you know? And that's something that I want you guys to like understand is you have to find that sweet like 50-50 spot, or you know, where it's give and take and the boundaries are there. And if you're really not comfortable, say it. You know, you're not hurting anybody by saying like, hey, you know, maybe it's even just the way something is said to you or anything. Like, I personally do not like getting told bro, and I don't care what anybody says. I hate when people are like bro. Like, even if it's like a friend, if it's like a coworker or anything like that, just personally, I don't like it. And it's not like it's triggering or anything like that. It's just personally I find it disrespectful. Like especially when it comes to certain situations, and I just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Again, could be like just my old way of thinking. I don't know. Like, I know I mess around and I'm like sometimes with the kids and stuff, but when it comes to like seriously talking and we're not playing around, like, I just really don't like it. And you know, I can be okay with certain people, like especially ones that are not connected with me. Like, if I'm at work or something and one of the teammates just tells me that, like, I'm kind of like, okay, but it's fine, you know? Like, I'm not gonna like push it or make such a big deal. I might ask them like, hey, you know, like tone it down a bit or something, but that's it. People that are closer to me though, like they know very well, like I just really don't like it, and that's just like a personal thing of mine. And I am very huge on respect and loyalty, so I don't know, maybe if that's where some of it comes back on. But again, if I stayed quiet and I didn't say anything, maybe this person keeps like getting on my nerves, and then they're just like, like, oh, you're acting a certain way, or I didn't know that, because it's just something simple you could change in your vocabulary. And I would do the same thing for others. Like, if you don't want me like saying something to you specifically, or you don't feel comfortable with it for whatever reason, like I'm never going to do something that you're not comfortable with. And sometimes you just have to agree to disagree, because that doesn't always go hand in hand when it comes to like, I'm not okay with this or I'm not okay with that. Because again, sometimes they can go back and forth where one person's like, I didn't think it was bad, I just think it's bad. And then you might be going back and forth, and it's like, let's just agree to disagree and move forward from this. And sometimes life is just like that, because again, I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that are listening to this that are like, you're tripping, bro, it's not that bad. But again, I just personally, I don't like it. Am I going to start a fight over it? No, not really, but I'll let you know I don't like it. And again, just, it's that simple, you know what I mean? And that's just with everything in life. Like, what do you want? What don't you want? Like, if something really is bothering you that bad, like, go ahead and say it. Don't just keep letting it go by because you're trying to be that bigger person. Like, do right by you, speak your truth. And sometimes, you guys, when things aren't aligning or people fight you back, sometimes those people are just not meant to be in your life in a certain way, and that's where certain boundaries need to go up, or you need to cut them off completely. And it's not always a bad thing. It's just sometimes you outgrow people, and people don't grow with you in the direction that you're going. I'm not saying they don't grow at all. There are some that don't, but I'm just saying sometimes you guys grow in different directions, and it's okay. It's okay to say goodbye to that person. It's okay to say goodbye to the old you. It's okay to say goodbye to the old ways of thinking or things you thought were okay. It's okay to change your mind too. I really want to make that very clear, because there are things that you probably were okay with at some point, and then you're just like, this is not in line with me anymore. And you're not being crazy. You're not, in a mood. You're not in whatever. Like, it's just not in line with you anymore. And that's one of the biggest things that sometimes is hard to identify, because I feel like we tell ourselves like, oh, I'm just in the mood, or this is just a time, I'll get back to it. I'll be normal again. I want to go back to the old me, I used to be this, I used to be that. Maybe the old you that was happy was only happy because you were people pleasing and making everybody else happy, but you are miserable inside. Like, you really have to think about this stuff, you guys, and know when to let go, like, even of your own ego and yourself. Okay, so I'm going to read the messages for this week. So give me a quick second. So your first card is the King of Swords. I definitely do feel that's in line with this message of knowing what's right for you and what's not, and knowing what you need to cut off and keep in this world. I do feel like this is a time, like I said, for us to take action, for us to cut everything out. Say goodbye to the old you. Say goodbye to people that no longer belong there. And I know there might be a time where you're feeling like, God, this is not feeling the best at this moment. But sometimes you just have to feel those moments and just, find a way past them. You know what I mean? Like, figure out the root cause of it and get past it. And the Nine of Swords. And I swear this is so in line. So this card is a card of reoccurring cycles. So as you can see, like, he's just like waking up upset, going through these things. And I do feel, like I said, it's us having that trouble of letting go, saying things are like okay now. Things are okay to change your mind on. And it does cause some grief, you guys, because like I said, even with yourselves, I feel like sometimes, like, we say these comments like, oh, back then I was so happy, but truth is, were you really happy, or were you in the best situation? Sometimes we just hold on to the good and we look past the bad. And I think that's what this is really telling you is, okay, take your veil off, cut all the bad off, and at the end of the day, was the good, worth all that bad? Like, probably not. It's probably like, 20% of it was good and the rest of it was bad, but you're just so focused on the good, Okay, and your last card is the Ace of Pentacles. So I do see how the Ace of Pentacles coming your way. So you can see it's coming from a cloud. So it's like imagination, creativity. So I really think we need to go in this direction to get to the Pentacle. So we really need to let go of it. It's all in your mind. Create your life that you want. And like I said, choose that abundance. Choose that Pentacle. Choose the goodness in what's coming out of this. Not everything has to be bad all the time, and like I said, letting go of parts of you, letting go of certain situations, it's not always like an easy thing to do. So it might seem a little rough at first. I talked about this in my transformations. Might seem lonely, but you're creating something better and you're getting what you want. Okay, and your guided card is Unconditional Love, the Divine Mother. Thank you, Divine Mother, for helping me to give and receive the love I desire. So again, I really do feel that you need to unconditionally love yourself through the good and the bad times. And you're seeing this. You're seeing like, I deserve this. I deserve good. I deserve to be happy. And I'm really glad to be getting that message, because you do deserve more than that, you guys. So that's the end of this message. Let me know what you guys think, and make sure you follow me on my other social media to keep up with what I'm doing. Sorry, totally butchered that.